We
We're
are
live, yeah.
live. Yes, sir.
Cool. Michael Cow, are you on stage with me too?
Yeah, we'll be here. Yeah,
Gotcha.
we'll be here. And then we'll field any questions as well.
Okay.
We
Cool.
got 33 in here right now, so we'll give it a minute.
Cool. Yeah, we'll give everybody a minute. Morning, afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Good to see everybody. Thanks for joining. Gonna give the crew another minute before we jump in, and we'll go from there. Once it hits 34, we'll go from there. All right, I'm gonna get going. Morning, everyone. Let's see. We got 45 for this. Great.
They like your backdrop, AJ.
Yeah. I mean, this is a home office of mine. So I appreciate I'm at a standing desk right now. But yeah, this is a little cave for me. Wanted to give an update on VaynerSports, the agency, and then talk about rewards and VaynerSports Pass as a whole. So I'm gonna go on a lengthy monologue. Please be patient with me. Maybe give me 10 minutes or so to ramble, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions. Feel free to drop questions in the chat. Thank you, Mint. I appreciate it. You've seen those clubs in use before in Bermuda. Same clubs. I'm actually thinking about getting an upgrade here soon. Or not an upgrade. Actually, I don't want an upgrade. I just got to regrip. Yeah, drop questions in the chat. We're not going to ignore them. We're just going to tab them. So as you have questions, feel free to drop them in. So overall, just some updates. On the football side, we're in the middle of free agency. We got a chunk of it done last week, but we still have some guys that we're working through. Did a couple 8-figure annual deals for guys like Evan Ingram and Juwan Johnson, which we're proud of. And so, yeah, like I said, still got to see through some more free agent work. And then in about 5 weeks, we have the NFL draft where we believe we're going to have a handful of guys selected at a minimum, along with some other guys. And so busy time in the football offseason, that's for sure. UFC-wise, we've got a bunch of fights coming up, including on Saturday, our guy Sean Brady is the main event in London against Leon Edwards. We also have, I don't remember the exact date, but in Iowa, we actually have the unique situation, which we haven't run into too often, but it's happening now, in which two of our clients, Corey Sandhagen and Davison Figueiredo, are fighting in the main event. That's always a little tough when you got two guys in that equation, but they're both great fighters and great men, and they're handling it well, and we just got to do what we do and manage both guys. Baseball-wise, the season kicked off, at least the opener in Japan. I don't know if you guys saw our guy Justin Turner's out that way in Asia. There was a great video of a couple local fans with big, giant red beards that he was able to connect with. I thought that was an awesome clip. He's with the Cubs now, which is fun. Another step on his journey. Another really fun item is that we actually signed 3 new baseball players. I think it was late last week. 3 brothers, which is pretty cool. So the McLean brothers are up and running with us. We're super excited. 3 super talented guys, all 3 drafted in the first 5 rounds of the baseball amateur draft in different years. They're all 3 on the younger side. I think they're like 25, 23, and 22, all young, close in age. Awesome to see 3 brothers with that type of talent, and awesome to have all of them on board with us. So we're pumped for the season to come on and get going. Basketball wise, it's a little bit quieter just because Brandon's out for the year with his wrist injury. Although we did announce an exciting partnership with a high school basketball player, Darren Peterson, and got some other fun stuff we're working on in the high school basketball scene. And we'll be on the ground at the McDonald's All-American game in Brooklyn on April 1st. So excited about that. And then on the gaming side, our guy Clicks actually got an icon skin in the game. So you can actually get a skin that makes you look like Clicks and inspired by Clicks. And it's a huge honor in the Fortnite world for a competitive player like Clicks to get that skin. We actually did a skin for Booga a couple years back as well. So really proud of Clicks and happy for Clicks on that front. So that's just like kind of a quick hitter on our different sports. Things are going well with the agency. Pumped for baseball to be up and running. combat is doing its thing. We're in the busy off season for football, and just still building the basketball practice and got some other exciting things that we're doing in that world. So pumped about that stuff. If you have any questions on that, feel free to drop it in the chat, but I'm sure most people are interested in what's going on with rewards and VSP. So I'll pivot into that. So with rewards, the final reward season is live. It'll be viewable. I guess Michael Cow went viewable like 40 minutes ago, right? So right before this, it went viewable, and then redemption and bidding will start at 4 Eastern. So a little less than 5 hours.
Yep.
Give you all a little bit of time just because we kind of dropped this on you. Like I said, 4 p.m. Eastern time is when the items will be available. One thing I want to really emphasize that is important, and maybe the most important part, and I know that this has caused some conversation in the Discord, and I understand some frustration around it, but this is the final reward season, like I mentioned, and the points expire on April 30th, so 5-6 weeks from now. And the main thing you should know in regards to that is that we're going to be pumping the rewards inventory quite a bit. What you see on the site now is not the final product. That's just to get it jump started. I want to emphasize and make it clear. I had a lengthy conversation with my brother Gary this morning, and he gave me the green light to share this, that he has a lot of energy to collaborate with the three of us, me, Michael, and Cal, and VaynerSports Pass to integrate VFriends into the rewards experience. So things like maybe some NFTs, we got Topps Chrome coming out in May. So please know that it's an active conversation. We realize that a lot of you were caught flat-footed with the timing of the reward season ending. And so even though that was always there and was always in the rules from the first day we launched, I understand we didn't make it explicitly clear. And when we talked to Gary about it, he wanted to put some energy behind that as well. I'll get into your question as far as raffles and things like that, but I'll get there in a minute. So I wanted to highlight that again. It's in the early stages, but I want to emphasize that Gary made it clear to me that there will be a VFriends collab as it relates to the rewards. And then in general, I'm an advisory member of VFriends. He's my brother. We'll think of some things. So be on the lookout for that. I know you might have questions. I'll be honest with you. I don't have the exact answers, but just know that that is something that was important for Gary and I to convey to this group, just given the sentiment we saw in the Discord, given the loyalty to the project, and also just our understanding of the extreme overlap between VaynerSports Pass and VFriends. So wanted to highlight that. Between now and April 30th, we have 2 more raffles, a UFC raffle and a tennis-based raffle. So be on the lookout for that. Wild card game is going to continue as planned. That'll later in the spring, maybe early summer, I think is probably around the timing for wild card season 3 to come to conclusion, right?
Exactly. Round 3 will be soon, and there's 5. So, yep.
Cool. When it comes to Black Card and the airdrops and the stipends, we have from the original launch until September for that. So keep that in mind. We may airdrop sooner, but we will honor stipends through. You basically have until September to use your stipend. And then Michael Cal, heat check me. We just need the stipend to be executed against. That doesn't mean the event.
Exactly.
I'm making it up. Please go check me. If there's an event in October or November you're really into and tickets are on sale, we can execute in September for what you will end up using in October, November, December. Is that right, Michael?
As long as you send us the receipt before September 30th.
So
correct.
As long as the event has purchasable tickets before the end of September, we will execute on that for you. But if you are trying to go to an event in July of 26 and tickets are not on sale before September, we can't help you. So please, Black Card holders, you've got 6 months to figure out how you want to spend the remaining balance of your stipend. And then, like I said, airdrops may happen anytime between now and September. But that we're going against exactly the timeline we always outlined, and we're going to work with that. And then, like I already said, between now and April 30th, the main thing is we're going to add more rewards items, and the key alpha is that there will be VFriends involved. So keep that in mind. I want to address the Medium article that's been discussed on Discord and has been discussed internally between the 3 of us. Listen, I understand the article said points will carry over, and they have. And again, just from the FAQ that we dropped with season 0, it's been and I made Michael and Cal double check with our developer and checked versions of code, and it's been there since day one. It's always been the date. Again, I understand it wasn't explicitly announced and shouted from the rooftops, but it's always been there. And so, yes, points. I feel as if we fulfilled what we said in terms of points from season 0 to season 1, et cetera, have carried over. But the concept of carryover does not go beyond the conclusion of the program. So, again, I understand the sentiment. But again, I think in general, I'll get on my soapbox for a minute. I don't mean this to come off as defensive, but I feel really comfortable when you look at our project. Whenever we launch something, whether it was the project initially, Black Card, as another example, we set parameters around it, and we would always deliver against that. And I feel we have done that. I remember back when we first launched, within the first week or two, I was under a tremendous amount of heat, not necessarily from the community that's still here. I just want to shout that out. Like the fact that you're taking the time 3 years later to be on this town hall. I'm not talking about you guys when I say this, but there was a real contingent of, call it like that crypto degen that was in and out, speculative. And so I think that, every project that dropped a roadmap, that pretty visual that showed what was going to happen for the next 3 to 4 years, I don't think there's a single project that delivered on their games and their metaverse and things of that nature. And I feel really comfortable that we said there'd be raffle for 3 years, and we're doing raffles for 3 years. We said that Black Card game would have 3 years of airdrops and 3 years of stipends, and we're doing that until September. Wild card game, same thing. And so I'm big on delivering on the initial concept, and I feel as if we're doing that. I'm not saying we were perfect. I'm not saying we did everything perfect or right. But again, I feel comfortable with what we've done and what we continue to do. So HH, to go to your question, will there be raffles? As of now, the guaranteed monthly raffle will expire on April 30th, which is the 3-year anniversary of the project and the 3-year anniversary of the raffles. That being said, the project is not concluding, but it is entering what I'll call maintenance mode. And so I see you, HH. And so we're entering maintenance mode, which means we are not doing raffles every month. It means we will not promise a season 4 of wild card game. That being said, I'm keeping it open. I'll actually attach this, Matthew Bragg. What optimum is there for earliest investors who made the biggest financial investments? First off, personally, there's not a single iota of me, and I feel very comfortable about the record. I've never claimed that VaynerSports Pass was an investment. Never once. Go through every single town hall, every message. I've never claimed to be an investment, so I don't see the community members as investors that made financial investments. Second, I am also somebody, I'm not just a project operator and owner. I am also a community member of many projects and made financial, I'm not going to call them investments either, because Doodles didn't tell me I was an investor and Wolf Game didn't tell me I was an investor. Go check the chain. I bought a Demon Wolf in Wolf Game for $50,000 to $60,000 that I sold for a few $100 in December as a tax write-off. And so what optimum is there? I think the fact that whatever I said we would do, we've continued to deliver on. I think the fact that I said we're not shutting down the project like so many, the vast majority of others have. And I'm putting this in maintenance mode. And from a conversation, we do, to the point of investors, we do have some community members that are investors in the project and withdrew from the project as community members, and had a meeting with them yesterday along with Michael and Cal. And I want y'all to know that we walked through this with them, got their feedback. And my plan is we're in maintenance mode. We'll do the occasional activation, but none of the guaranteed monthly consistent things that we've done over the last 3 years. And I'm going to reevaluate the current, climate every 6 months to see if there's an opportunity. And if there's an opportunity to reinvest in the project and try to grow it again off the baseline of, some of the glory days in the first few months, I will do that. So we are in maintenance mode. I'm making it clear. There's not monthly raffles. There's no promise of a wild card game season 4. Black card utility and stipends and airdrops will not go beyond September of this 3rd season, but I'm keeping the project alive. I am keeping the VSPs as collectibles, and I'm very mindful of finding opportunities to engage this community in positive ways on an ad hoc basis in the future. And like I said, and this was a suggestion from one of our community members turned investors, every 6 months, I'm going to have a calendar event, and I'll be doing it actively and passively too, to see where there's opportunities. And then, like I said, I want to do ad hoc things and activations as well. So that's the approach. One thing that I think is another question we're anticipating is the Discord. The Discord will remain open, although me, Michael, and Cal, I know Michael and Cal, you guys gave me suggested channels that we're going to roll forward with. I still want to talk a little bit more. So, but what I will say is that it'll be a pared down version. We won't have as many channels. It'll be reflective of the maintenance mode that we're in, but we'll have a Discord channel. I'll still definitely have things like announcements in general, and maybe 1 or 2 other channels. We'll see. And that's the current state of the project. And I've seen some questions, but I'm happy to kind of open up the floor. Michael and Cal, if there's anything I missed or anything you want to go into detail more so, have at it.
No, yeah. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the chat. I see one from HH. AJ, if we want to keep rolling.
HH is a good question. Hollow is alpha. As you all know, are you talking about, I want to make sure, HH, are you talking about Hollow, the community run project? Are you talking about the mascot character that does the community activations? Or are you talking about like the Hall of Fame that Gary and I just delivered on for this year a month or so ago? So you're talking about the mascot, the community project. Sorry, one more yes for me, HH, because your yes came in after I gave you both options. Say yes if you're talking about Hollow, the mascot community run project. Okay, thank you. I'm not sure. So I know that I think people think that it's actually us. Again, it's not us. So that's a conversation I need to have. One thing that we did do is we provided some resources to Hollow as Alpha, and maybe we're able to provide some, but it's really up to the community member to decide whether that will continue on. So out of our hands, that's never been controlled by us as the project. We've helped a bit, but that's been an independent community run initiative that is up to he or her to decide, he or she. So Cal, I appreciate the sentiment there. And I appreciate the overall sentiment here. I understand, like I said, as a member of other communities myself, I understand that, there was value that people appreciated from the project that we've delivered consistently on for 3 years. But I also am humbled by what I see as a lot of sentiment in the positive that highlights that I think everybody knows that when we launched, if you were here from the beginning, that we delivered on it. So Connor, do you realistically see VSP becoming what initially was portrayed and pictured as at the beginning of the NFT craze? I think we delivered on what I initially portrayed. I think that, here's a good time for me to add some of these stats that Cal and Michael prepared me for this exact question. We sent over 1,000 individuals to live sporting events. I think that's a real data point and a real number. We shipped over 1,000 unique rewards items. So again, rewards being a pivot midway through the project that were never promised when we first launched. And I think that's real execution. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in prizes via wildcard game. That's what I envisioned. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, even more in black card airdrops, which was an initiative that was an event to dilute the supply of VSPs. So VaynerSports Pass, when we did the black card event, we did the math, and over 7 figures was spent by holders in the burn and the deflationary event. And only a small fraction of that actually came in as revenue to VaynerSports Pass. Whereas we could have done a direct sale of black card, not reduce the count of the NFTs that generated over $1 million in rev. And instead, black card was a complete cost center. We spent a fortune in legal fees. We spent a fortune in rewards in terms of airdrops and stipends to events. And then we spent a pretty penny on the tech cost too. And so I guess, Connor, do I see it becoming what I initially portrayed and pictured? I think it did become what I portrayed. But I'll be honest, as far as what I pictured, I thought the NFT ecosystem would be a lot further along. If you asked me 3 years ago where NFTs would be as an industry, I thought we'd be a lot further along. I thought the tech was going to go a lot further. I thought we were going to hit the mainstream in a lot of bigger ways. I thought the utility, I envisioned NFTs being, and when I say NFTs, like the blockchain, really be at the center of things like college degrees and job applications and resumes and medical records. And I was wrong. It didn't proceed nearly at the rate that I thought. I think the narrative and the branding was bad. I think the technology was hard to use. And so I'll answer this. I believe VSP became, over a 3-year period, what I portrayed. I'm very comfortable in that. And then what I pictured, no, it didn't become what I pictured because I severely overestimated what our world would look like with the blockchain. And that's just the honest truth. All love here. I meant love. Well, I appreciate that, Frank. HH, any thoughts of burning VSPs to get VFs? I don't think we want to burn, if I'm being honest, but there is plenty of active conversation around how VFriends can be included here between now and April 30th with the reward system and anything else. And I also know I'm not promising this, and I appreciate your answer to that, Connor. I'm not promising this in the least bit, but I think you all know how my brother feels about me, feels about his participation in this project, feels about VFriends and his confidence in VFriends, and feels about the overall state. And so, like I said, VFriends will definitely be a part of the rewards experience here over the next 5-6 weeks. And then when I talk about ad hoc activations in the future, I know there's positive energy to find ways to think about how VSP can maybe do something fun at VCon when VCon comes back, if it comes back. That's another one of those things where, VCon was a 3-year promise and Gary delivered on it, and there's nothing scheduled for 2025, although I think he's thinking about maybe it in the future. And if he goes down that road, I can go down that road with him and think about that as well. So, VFriends is a supporting sister company in all of this. And as I said in the beginning, and I'm happy about the positive response, we're in the early conversations of figuring out some fun stuff for VFriends to do with us between now and April 30th with rewards. Just sorting through all the comments. And again, I'm humbled. A lot of positive stuff which is not necessarily the most exciting, glamorous news. So I appreciate that. Just looking at some of the comments and even the handles, like Sweet Baby Jeebus, created by Nathan Bond. I appreciate that. I'm just scanning through. Michael Cow, if you see anything as well. But I'm here, and ask away. And I just want to highlight how much I appreciate the energy. HH, I appreciate you. I mean, I'm a little taken aback, if I'm being honest. I have goosebumps. This is just, it's humbling. This is very, I don't know. I'll go into story mode for a minute because I feel like you guys are giving me that platform right now, and I don't know if you can see it. My brother does this shit all the time. I don't think you can see I don't do that as much, but I really do have goosebumps. So thank you. Aaron, hit me up on the side because we did have that history together. It's not something we're actively looking at, but I know you and I went down a path. Hey, Bush League, we know who you are. And you do ask some of the hard questions. And I'm not going to say I've enjoyed every comment you've made. But you and I have gotten the pleasure to spend time together in Denver and New Jersey. And I know who you are. And so do we. So I appreciate this sentiment. Brett, I'm not going to say it's an end. It's certainly not. It's like I said, certainly not flowers and rainbows. But I am not ending this project. We are going into a maintenance mode. We are going to be thinking about smart, sustainable ways to keep things afloat and active to an extent. Because call me naive, call me stupid. I can't quit NFTs in the industry. I will say I'm very disappointed because we had a really strong crypto push and the fucking meme coins and shit coins took a lot of the NFT. I never fucking understood that meta. I lost money in that too, by the way. I was like everybody, I was up a bunch and now I'm down. Cal and I were chatting. I was up. I was feeling myself at one point, but nope. Anyway, I'm kind of bouncing around a bunch, but yeah.
You're saying story time.
Yeah, the story time. I'm just really humbled. I'll be honest. I'll just be really transparent. we were bracing for some negativity in here today, and I would have understood that and had empathy for it. And so we were talking, and I'm really, really humbled because I was talking with Michael and Cal, like, man, I know we'll get some negativity tomorrow, but like, man, I really feel as if like we really did a good job and we've really done what we'd say. And we didn't mislead. We didn't lie. We didn't not deliver on things we said we'd deliver on. But we got to brace for it because that comes with it. I'm not complaining. That's what it comes with running a project. And I was like, man, let's think about like other times we took our lumps and other times we've had calls we weren't looking forward to because we knew we had to take it on the chin. And like, I think back to the launch of the project and the gas wars. That was probably the hardest part of my entire career as a businessman and an entrepreneur. I literally didn't sleep. Spent about 20 something hours. I want to say I went a full day. I don't know if I did though. I don't want to embellish, but I went a really fucking long time and I couldn't sleep because of the stress that I felt and the obligation that I felt just taking it on the fucking chin about the launch and the gas war. That was tough. I think about one of my most frustrating experiences ever was like week 2 or 3. We launched a raffle and it didn't work. And I was just fucking ape shit because like, why wouldn't it work? We've tested and we did this and we did that. Or we had an error and like, we're not perfect. We've made our mistakes. But I can't emphasize enough how humbled I am by this response. Chenzo, you said, is there an option for you to receive new income that will finance some raffles? Possibly. What's up?
We were
Me and
both.
Cal kept trying to pin it, and then
I was like, why are you laughing at Chenzo? I think Chenzo just wants to beat me in sports trivia. I think that's the main reason he's asking this question because I don't think I ever beat Chenzo in sports trivia, which is a little bit embarrassing. I'm not a diverse enough sports fan. That's my weakness. I'm very deep. I crush American football. I crush basketball. I'm getting stronger. I know I got some combat guys here, like my network guy. I've gotten a lot stronger in combat over the last few years. Going from somebody that knew shit about combat 4 years ago to now being pretty dialed in, I take pride in that. But I struggle in, proper football and tennis. And even though I love golf, I play it more than I watch it. So this is really humbling. Michael Cal, do me a favor. I'd love just to capture a lot of these screenshots, not even really for anything but my own just personal appreciation.
Gotcha.
Mint. You know what? Somebody pin Mint for a second because this is just the Kellen Mint. Yeah. I always say that I crawled so that VFriend Series 2 and Moonbirds could run because VFriend Series 2 and Moonbirds were both going to launch exactly the way we launched. And both had emergency meetings in which I was a part of. I was literally joining Zooms with both those teams, fucking like looking like I just went 12 rounds with Tank Davis and just like emotionally drained. And they're like, AJ, like, what did you learn? What would you do differently? I'm just like, I was just dead. But, both those, I appreciate you highlighting that. I'm not trying to take a victory lap, but like in a world where, man, that was really fucking tough and that was not good for the ecosystem. I think it was a blessing in disguise because VFriend Series 2 and Moonbirds both had incredible launches, which could have been much more damaging in terms of gas wars and wasted efficiency. So, yeah, I appreciate you flagging that one because that was a real experience. Yeah, and by the way, I love just hearing the community member. Like that's why we're keeping the Discord alive. We want people to still have a place, especially the OGs that are sticking around and been here from the beginning and beyond. And then I want to highlight, I'm on Twitter. Everybody knows where I'm at, AJV. And again, maintenance mode. And I'm sure people are going to want me to be more active in maintenance mode than I'm going to be, but I want you to know that it's genuine. I've set a reminder to reevaluate the state of the market every 6 months, and I'll still do that in between. I'm not going to wait 6 months to think about the NFT market. I can assure you, I own plenty of collectibles. Check the chain. Frank, something I've thrown around and considered. I'm not promising it. That is one thing that I've enjoyed. It's not awfully difficult for us to put on. It's not extremely expensive. Something that's on my mind. is green is green. I'm not promising in any way, but that's on my mind. Just certain 3 questions. Michael Cal, jump in, guys. I've been yapping. I don't know if you want to say anything, given all the pot. By the way, let me shut up for a minute. Let these guys chime in. I'm saying how appreciative, how humbled I am. These 2 were massive engines that helped me drive this project in a massive way. So I want them to also talk.
Michael, I'll give you the floor. You got us?
My Wi-Fi's a little choppy. Let me move to a new spot, Cal, if you want to take it.
Why don't you go first?
Well, no, yeah, obviously it's been a ride, as AJ said, start of the project. I think I can say that I was the only one who's on this call right now here day one. Michael joined us a little bit later, maybe a month or two.
Why you got to flex on Michael like that?
No, just give it some context.
It's so unnecessary to throw Michael. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
As to, and so, remember the gas days vividly. And then, yeah, I think, we were expecting probably a whole bunch more questions, as well as AJ said, negativity, which would be warranted today. And I think, just seeing most of the people in the chat here, I've had lengthy conversations with, met everyone in person. I think, throughout the VCons, the different VSP events, all the time that we've spent together, I truly feel as though, this is what community was meant to be. This is what the intersection of Web3 and sports, was meant to be. And so, yeah, I hope everyone keeps reaching out. As I said, we all stay in touch. And yeah, at the end of the day, what brought us together is sports, and the love for NFTs and Web3, and that's not going away. And so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, truly humbled and appreciative of all my interactions with everyone who's, commenting in the chat, and everyone who couldn't make it today. I think that that's been the best thing about this, is the people. So yeah, again, I'm here. Michael and I are here. If you guys have any other questions or need anything in the Discord and on Twitter, etc. But very appreciative.
When I first joined VSP, my alias was Teddy Tiger, because I had first started a Tiger NFT project. And the main thing about the NFT space was, you kind of got to be like anonymous, have this alias, be like, you don't want to show your identity, right? And as I got more and more comfortable seeing and meeting a lot of the people here, I'm like, this isn't your average Web3 NFT project where everyone's behind their PFPs. These are people that you want to see in person, and we have been meeting up in person. Super different from all the NFT projects. And so AJ always said we're like Web 2.5, kind of with everything going on here, and that's truly what it was. And so that's where I felt comfortable enough to show you guys the real me, right? Like community managing, you guys waking up every morning, seeing what messages are in the Discord, what events are we executing, how are we making pivots to help you guys, the community, has been an amazing honor and a huge learning experience for me. You guys could see me and Cal are no veterans in business. This is still my first job out of college, and it's been like truly an amazing, and as AJ has been saying, humbling ride to be helping you guys, waking up every morning being like, how can I execute on what I could do for the holders? And I also want to give a huge shout out to Hollow as well for all the stuff that they've been doing for all of the activations and stuff, because without Hollow, I don't think this project would be nearly as fun and engaging as it has been. So huge shout out to them for everything that they have done. I don't even think people realize how much they have helped as a part of this project. And so as I'm saying thank you to everyone here, and it's been an honor with all that, special shout out to Hollow as well.
No doubt.
And also I'm saying this as like a goodbye, but it's obviously not a goodbye. I'm just kind of recapping the last crazy 3 years it has been to seeing all you guys at Green is Green and VCon and spending nights out with you guys. And it's been a fun ride.
The one thing I'll add is, like, in the Web3 NFT space, 3 years feels like 10. Again, it's crazy to think that it's 3 years, because it feels like much longer. And that's probably due to the relationships that have been built through this. I feel like I've known a bunch of you for 10, 20, 30 years, my whole life. So it felt like longer.
I want to add 2 things. One, just reading the comments. Michael Cow, when we finalize the design for Discord and the pair down, I know announcements in general are given. I think we should have like a channel just for a special place to talk about live sporting events. I saw somebody talk about the UFC fights. Like, I think it's good to have a separate outside the general channel for, the true fans of our athletes and just sports in general to be able to kind of really go off and chat heavy, in real time. So that could be a third channel for sure. And then the other thing, Ben Fuller mentioned it a little bit up. I'm going to commit to it for now. I'm not going to say this in perpetuity because I don't want to be on the hook in 2048 for 2 town halls a year if the robots have taken over by then anyway. But I'm going to commit right now to a mid-September town hall. I like it for a couple reasons. One, it'll help me be accountable for the ad hoc stuff that I've talked about. It'll help me be accountable about the VFriends stuff that me and my brother have talked about. It's right around when we should be concluding with Black Card anyway. And I think it's just good timing. So I'm going to commit right now. I'm going to put it in my calendar, frankly, for this. I'm just going to do Wednesday in mid-September at this exact time slot, just so it's in stone. September 17th. What time do we start? 11:30? 11:30
Yep.
VSP. I'm just putting it in now. And I'll make a reminder, announce VSP Town Hall in mid. Literally going into my to-dos app and making a reminder to give y'all notice maybe right after Labor Day. September 4th, I set a reminder, 8 a.m. Boom. So I am committed to that town hall. September 17th.
There's a question here from SoCal AJ pinned.
Do you think we put together a Google Doc questionnaire that people can add contact info business owner? That way we can use it as a resource. I like that. And maybe we can pin it to like the general channel.
Yeah.
If people want to be able to stay in touch. I think we just make it a form and everything's optional. So if you want to include your cell phone, great. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to. If you want to remain anonymous and not use a name, fine. If you want to use your real name, fine. I think that's a fun initiative. Michael Cal, right?
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah.
Those 2 guys will take care of it.
Question from Chenzo.
Yeah, Sports Cappuccino is a standalone brand. Frankly, that's something I'm looking for more traction on. We've been stagnant on the audience growth, but that's a separate initiative and working through those dynamics as well, but independent of VSP, particularly around the content side of our social channels and such.
Still posting like daily strategic organic content on that as well, especially whenever like athletes come in and all that, and also just kind of establishes credibility for us as far as like actually understanding social media algorithms and all that for the agency as a whole.
Yep. I'm going to address Texas Red and Mac, and Red Mac we've discussed before. I don't know when you jumped in, Mac. I feel like I covered a lot of what you just said. I had a question. I'll be very honest, and I know we've had our conversations before. I know how much money you spent buying VSPs. Like I said, as a collector, I have empathy for it, but it's not an investment. I never said it was an investment. I have empathy for people that looked at NFTs as investments, but I take enormous belief that I've never described it as an investment. I myself, as a collector, have never thought projects were liable to me as an investor. I don't own parts of those projects. People that bought VSPs don't own a part of VaynerSports or VaynerSports Pass. And so I understand your disappointment. I've been in your shoes and have felt similar disappointment in other projects. Again, I don't know when you jumped on, but I kind of addressed this exact sentiment already, and I understand. I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but it's just my truth. Talton's question: do we have to buy merch this year for points? Michael Cal?
Yeah, so I mean, all the points that were already in your account before this new launch and the rebrand of the website are still in your account. If you want to get more points, then that would require you to purchase those items that are in the shop there to activate the VSP bonus points. All the bonus point allocations in the Discord in the most recent announcement. And then obviously if you accumulate those points, they will expire on April 30th.
The other thing, I'll go back to Mac real quick about Gary. I don't know if you heard in the beginning, spent 5 minutes talking about it, but VFriends and Gary will be involved here as we enter maintenance mode. explicitly within the rewards aspect and maybe some other areas. And so that's something that is on our mind.
If anyone has any other questions, please drop them in the chat. We've got a couple minutes and then we're rolling to a captain's call.
Yes, Bush League Media. If you make any of those sports camera, and it shows which items activate the VSP bonus points on that graphic. Again, in the Discord, the most recent announcement that we put out there shows all the point allocations there. So the answer is yes for this season.
Yep.
Okay, we have a captain's call in 2 minutes. Yeah, Bush League, use your VFriends will be involved in regards to rewards points. Use your points by April 30th. And then, like I teased, I'm not promising this, but I believe from my conversation with Gary that when I talk about being in maintenance mode May 1st and beyond, and us doing some things here and there, I think there will be some VFriends activations as well. But the most impactful way to benefit from the VFriends support coming from Gary is to use your points by April 30th on VFriends related items that will be featured in some capacity. So again, those are in the early conversations, but that I just wanted to clarify that point explicitly. Cool. Michael Cow, give me a buzz for a minute right before we get into the captain's call. We'll see anybody that's in the captain's call wants to join. I'll see you in a minute or two.
Cool. Appreciate
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody. Appreciate you all. Humbled again by the response. Understand the disappointment of some, and we're going to execute what we outlined to go from there. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to end stream.